It was a bustling afternoon in the heart of Agba village, and the air was thick with the aromas of jollof rice, stewed meats, and sizzling plantains. Mama Tosin's food store, nestled in the corner of the village market, was as busy as ever. The clanging of metal plates and the hum of satisfied customers echoed through the market. She was, without a doubt, the best cook the village had ever known. The villagers said her food was touched by the gods themselves, rich, flavorful, and oddly addictive. I remember the first time I tasted Mama Tosin's jollof rice. The rice was perfectly spiced, the meat tender, the plantains sweet and golden. It was like nothing I had ever eaten before. The flavors danced on my tongue, and before I knew it, I had cleared my plate and reached for more. Everyone said the same thing. Once you tasted Mama Tosin's food, you couldn't get enough. It wasn't long before she became a legend. Her small food store soon outshone even the larger restaurants in neighboring towns. People came from far and wide just to experience the taste of her cooking. She had become an icon in the community, the go-to person for weddings, funerals, and all celebrations. But behind her warm smile and the delicious food was a secret that would later turn the village upside down. It began with whispers. People began to talk, as people do when something feels too good to be true. They would stand in the shade of the palm trees, their eyes scanning the bustling market, murmuring amongst themselves. Some said it was impossible for Mama Tosin's food to be that good without help. How can one woman cook for hundreds of people every day without ever seeming tired? They would ask. The more superstitious villagers began to suspect something darker. It's not natural, they would mutter under their breath. There must be something else behind it. There was one story in particular that kept making the rounds. It was said that one night, a villager, Olu, while passing by Mama Tosin's home late after a long journey, had seen a faint glow emanating from her kitchen. Curious, he peered in through the small opening in her window. What he saw left him shaken. According to him, Mama Tosin was stirring a pot, but not with an ordinary spoon. The ladle was a twisted, gnarled branch of a tree, and strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls of her kitchen. Olu hurried away, but he told no one until the rumors began. Still, her charm and the irresistible taste of her food silenced any rumors. People were too busy enjoying her dishes to dwell on the possibilities of magic or dark forces. In fact, the village thrived around her store. Business in the market soared as traders came from neighboring towns, drawn in by the promise of Mama Tosin's food. Soon, even the chief and village elders were seen frequenting her store more often than usual. Then, one day, something strange happened. A young boy, Tomi, who had eaten from her stall every day for the past month, suddenly fell ill. His family thought it was just food poisoning at first, but after a week of strange symptoms, dizzy spells, nightmares, and uncontrollable cravings for Mama Tosin's food, they called for the village healer. After examining the boy, the healer shook his head grimly and said, "This is no ordinary sickness." The boy's condition puzzled the villagers. Soon, concern spread, and more cases of illness began to emerge among Mama Tosin's regular customers. The once glowing praise for her food now carried an undercurrent of suspicion. How could this be? Her food had brought joy and life to the village, not sickness. The village elders, led by Chief Busy, gathered in the town square to discuss the matter. They decided an investigation was needed. But how could they accuse Mama Tosin of something so serious? She had been a kind-hearted woman, always giving extra portions to those who couldn't afford to pay. Accusing her seemed absurd. The villagers debated endlessly, their whispers growing louder with each passing day. But soon, the suspicions became impossible to ignore. More children, women, and even men who frequented her store began to fall ill with the same mysterious symptoms. Some villagers began to avoid her store, while others, unable to resist, continued to eat her food, even as they grew weaker by the day. The fear that had once been whispers now grew louder, and the once lively market became clouded with doubt. The turning point came when a local herbalist, Ifa priest, known for his deep knowledge of traditional medicine and charms, came forward. He claimed that Mama Tosin had visited him several months earlier, requesting a powerful charm to increase her business. According to the Ifa priest, the charm was meant to make her food irresistible to anyone who ate it. But there was a dark side to the charm. Over time, it would begin to affect the minds of her customers, making them ill if they didn't return for more. The Ifa priest explained how charms, while seemingly benign in their purpose, often came with unintended consequences. Power has a price, he said gravely, and Mama Tosin must have known this when she saw the charm. He showed the elders the herbs and concoctions he had provided her and the warning he had given her. At first, no one wanted to believe the Ifa priest story. Mama Tosin, using charms, it seemed impossible, but the evidence was piling up. When the elders confronted her, she denied everything, her eyes wide with fear. She insisted that her food was made with love and nothing more. But the villagers, once loyal to her, began to turn against her. The village elders, led by Chief ByVee, decided to search her kitchen. What they found was shocking. Hidden behind her large pot of stew was a small, strange-looking bundle wrapped in old palm fronds. Inside the bundle were small bones, feathers, and a dark red powder that the elders immediately recognized as ingredients for a powerful charm. Mama Tosin, what have you done? Chief ByVee asked, his voice trembling with both anger and disbelief. Realizing that her secret was out, Mama Tosin collapsed to the ground, sobbing. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she cried. At first, it was just to bring in more customers. I didn't know it would harm anyone. But the damage had been done. The once beloved food vendor was now seen as a deceiver who had endangered the lives of the villagers for her own gain. The elders, after a long deliberation, decided on her punishment. She was to be banished from the village, never to return. Before she left, Mama Tosin went to Tomi's family. With tears in her eyes, she apologized and gave them a small vial of herbs that Ifa priest had prepared to reverse the effects of the charm. Slowly, the boy recovered, but the memory of what had happened lingered in the minds of the villagers for years to come. As for Mama Tosin, no one knows what became of her after she was banished. Some say she wandered from village to village, never staying in one place for too long. Others believe that she found redemption and lived a quiet life far from Agba. But the lesson remained clear in our village: greed and the misuse of power, even through charms, can destroy everything. Days passed, and the once busy corner of the market where Mama Tosin's store had stood became empty. It was a constant reminder of the danger of taking shortcuts. A few villagers still spoke kindly of her, remembering her generosity and the delicious meals she once served. But the majority were relieved that she was gone. But the tale did not end there. Several months after Mama Tosin's banishment, a strange thing began to happen in Agba village. The food from the other vendors, once praised and enjoyed by all, no longer satisfied the villagers. The jollof rice tasted bland, the meats lacked flavor, and even the market's once celebrated plantains tasted off. A sense of longing for Mama Tosin's cooking began to creep into the hearts of the villagers, and with it, a deep unease. It seemed that the charm she had used had left a lasting effect on the people. Many, especially the elders, grew worried that the village was still under the spell of her food. Chief ByVee, now burdened with guilt, sought out Ifa priest once again. Ifa priest, after consulting his spirits, warned that the charm had not only affected those who ate the food but also had seeped into the very soil of the market. The magic is old and powerful, he said. It will not simply fade away. fearing for the future of the village. The elders called for a cleansing ceremony. The entire village gathered at the marketplace, where Ifa priest performed a ritual to cleanse the land and break the charm's lingering influence. But even as the rituals were carried out, a sense of unease remained. Years later, people still speak of Mama Tosin's food stall. Some say that on quiet nights, when the moon is full, you can still smell the faint aroma of her jollof rice wafting through the village. Others claim that Mama Tosin herself sometimes returns in the dead of night, a shadowy figure who walks through the market, silently watching over the empty corner where her stall once stood. But most agree that the story of Mama Tosin serves as a warning, a reminder that even the sweetest things in life can have a bitter edge. Whenever we pass by the empty corner of the market where Mama Tosin's stall once stood, we are reminded of her tale, a tale of how even the most delicious food can hide the bitter taste of deception. The enchanted pot may be gone, but the lessons of greed, deception, and the misuse of power linger on in the memories of the people of Agba.